I have dyslexia. All right. Your dyslexia is people that have dyslexia. We use the wrong part of our brain to decode language. We use the memorization part of our brain, and so things aren't in the right order, right? And that all gets full of stuff that's not supposed to be there because there's a whole part of my brain using things I never used, right? And so it causes me to mix things up when I memorize them. So I'm doing this video again. I read so in First Kings, end First Kings, Ahab dies, gets killed by an arrow from Syria, from a Syrian archer. Okay, now in Second Kings, uh, Jezebel gets killed. She gets thrown off her balcony by her eunuchs, and the dog-eater altar is falling on her feet. Right now, this whole time, Elijah, all right, and now, the new king, Isaiah, Azaiah, he falls through the lattice of his house and he's hurt. And he's like, okay, there's no God in Israel. Go get go get a prophet of Beelzebub. Beelzebub is the show Michael Keaton, the movie Beetlejuice. That was Beelzebub. Okay, and then Beelzebub was also the demon in The Exorcist 2. Okay, and so God gets wind that Isaiah, Azaia, the new king of Israel, is going after a pagan god to help him with his injury. Okay, and so he pulls Elijah out of his what do you call it? His exile. Okay, and so he intercepts the messenger and tells him, "Hey, listen, tell Elijah or Isaiah that he's gonna die because he claimed there's no God in Israel, and that and he went after this pagan god Beelzebub to heal him." So the messenger goes back, tells him that, goes, "Well, let's go get him." So he goes and sends a captain and 50 troops into Syria to get Elijah. And Elijah calls down fire, just like he did against the priests of Baal, and smokes the captain and his 50 men. And then he sends another captain and 50 men, and he does the same thing. And then he sends a third captain and 50 Israeli troops, and this guy gets prostrate on the ground and says, "I'm at your mercy. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm just, the king's talking to you." And God tells Elijah that this guy's not going to hurt you. Go ahead and let's talk to him. And then he goes with him and he tells Isaiah, "You're going to die because you claim there's no God in Israel." And the and you went to Beelzebub, right? Well, so he dies. Okay. Now God tells Elijah, "You're going to ascend. You're coming with me." So Elijah is following him around. He's his apprentice, and he says, "Stay here. I'm going to Bethel." And he says, "I'm not going to leave you. I'm staying with you." So he goes with him. And he says, tells him again, "I stay here. I'm going to the Jordan." He doesn't want to stay. He goes with him. Very persistent. And then he goes, "Finally, stay here. I'm going to Jericho." Right? But he doesn't. He goes with him. He goes, "What do you want?" He goes, I want part of your spirit." He goes, "Well, I don't know how that's going to be kind of tough." But when Elijah ascends, like 2/3 of his spirit stays with Elijah. So he does some miracles and healing mostly, right? And so what I picked up on, a lot of trust issues, big time trust issues. That's why Elijah smoked the captain and his 50 troops. Actually, 100 troops, 2 captains and 100 Israeli troops got smoked, right? And then he didn't trust Elijah. But Elijah was smart. He was, reminds me of me going into these produce warehouses trying to get business, going in them for a couple weeks, for a year, and keep smiling when they tell me no. And finally, they order a case or a chemical, and they use it. They love it. Now it's part of their system, right? But it took me a year or longer for some of them to get their trust, right? And in the valley here, that's a big issue, right? People I know, I trust them. They trust me. I think they trust me. I think they we're pretty close, right? And takes them a while. Takes them a while to see. I'm not just writing them off, right? I still, care about them, right? And then they can tell, right? So it's just patience, right? Just patience. And I'm patient, right? I'm patient, and I'm confident in me, all right? This morning, boy, I didn't want to go this morning. I didn't want to go work out this morning. I didn't want to go run this morning. And my body was like giving me indicators that my knee was going to give me problems. My other knee was going to give me problems. And but I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna. I have to be true to myself, and I made myself get out the door, and I ran, and I did a good workout. I did 3 sets of 24 pull-ups in a row, and I did shoulders today, and but if I wouldn't have done it, I can just see how fast somebody can go downhill once they let themselves go. And I've done it, and it took a long time to get it back, and I just cannot allow myself to deteriorate again. So this all ties together. Elijah had real trust issues with everybody but God, right? And his reward for trusting in God was he ascended, right? Moses didn't ascend. Moses died out in the desert. Okay, he left behind. He's the one of the ones that developed another prophet, right? That's been a big problem throughout the Old Testament. All the way through, getting a connection to God and not discipling, not teaching descendants on how to have that relationship with God. I think Abraham and Isaac with Jacob, and then Jacob, did a decent job, I guess, with his sons, for sure, with Joseph, right? And Joseph called on God and had good discernment and ruled Egypt, and did a great job at it, right? That having that connection with God on your own and not teaching how to do it was, I guess, would be a sin, would be a deep sin. And these people teach meditation, right? Well, there's different. I mean, these power speakers, I think they got it going on, except they're just adamant that God's not in it. This power of the universe, this universal energy, doesn't have a personality. It isn't universal intelligence, but it doesn't make its own decisions. We control it, not the other way around. And I've got to challenge that. I think that they can't discount it, because if you're doing it for selfish reasons, it don't work, right? It don't work. You got to be focused on a higher power or a higher cause, and you got to be legitimate about it, or it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work, but it does work. You got the positive attitude is more than a positive attitude. It's just giving it all up to God. It's giving it all, trusting in God with your well-being and your energy and your focus, and letting him direct you. And that's why when you read the scriptures and you meditate on the scriptures, and I had to meditate a whole bunch because I forget the names, hence this Alexia, that it was really cool when I woke up this morning and I recalled Isaiah, Edaiah, right? That was hard for me to recall yesterday, but when I woke up this morning, it was right there at the front of my mind. All right. Have a wonderful day.